Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking you back to the 2025 U.S. Open at Oakmont Country Club.
What a week that was.
Absolutely, just an incredible championship. So much intense drama, some real moments of heartbreak, and yeah, some genuinely historic achievements we're still buzzing about.
Definitely.
So our mission today is to kind of cut through the noise, go beyond the headlines, and really pull out the key insights from that tournament.
And we're specifically looking at it through the lens of the LIV Golf players. Yeah.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut, your deep dive into what that championship really meant for, that particular group of players.
It was quite the roller coaster for players and fans. And zooming in on those LIV Golf guys, their presence, it made a real statement at Oakmont.
Okay, so they were a pretty small group in the field, weren't they? Only 14 players.
Yeah, just 14 in a field of 156. But despite those numbers, they were absolutely in the mix, right near the top of the leaderboard.
So give us a quick snapshot then. Just how effective were they?
Well, look at this. They bagged 3 top 10s, 4 top 15s, and 5 top 25s. That's pretty significant from just 14 guys.
That is impressive.
And what really stands out is how they played over the weekend. Saturday, round 3. LIV players shot 3 of the 4 lowest rounds. You had Ortiz with a 67, Hatton and Leishman both shot 68.
Wow.
Then Sunday, round 4, John Rahm comes in with a 67, tied for the low round of the day.
So that kind of performance from such a small contingent, it really says something, doesn't it, about the talent there?
It absolutely does. It validates the talent for sure. But it also kind of challenges that narrative, that maybe their tour schedule might hold them back in the majors.
All right.
It suggests these top guys, their skill and drive,
Yeah.
it goes beyond which tour they play on. Makes you wonder what really prepares someone for major pressure.
That's a fascinating point. Really makes you think. Okay, so let's jump into some of the individual stories. We had near misses, we had breakouts. And you really can't talk about near misses at Oakmont without talking about Tyrrell Hatton's heartbreak.
Oh, definitely not.
He was just showing incredible resilience, wasn't he? Holding steady while everyone else seemed to be falling away. What was working so well for him leading up to, that moment on 17?
Well, first off, that T4 finish, that was a career-best major for him. Huge. Earned him spots in the 2026 U.S. Open and the Masters.
Big deal for him.
Massive. And his resilience, it really came down to his ball striking consistency. He wasn't forcing things. Seemed like he knew Oakmont would punish you for that. Just smart, high-percentage golf.
Until 17.
Until 17, yeah.
Yeah.
Tied for the lead. It's a 313-yard par 4, supposedly one of the more scoreable holes. He missed his drive right, which, strategically that's the correct to miss for that pin.
Okay.
But the ball just ended up in an unbelievably unlucky spot. Super difficult lie. Hatton himself said it, something like, if you're going to miss 17 right with that pin, you have to miss it right. I did my bit. I feel like I was extremely unlucky.
And that bad break leads to a bogey, just like that, out of the lead.
Yeah. Exactly. Fine margins. It just makes you think, what could have been for him? He's 33. These major chances, they don't come around every week.
No, they certainly don't. It just shows how fast things can turn. Okay, so from that near miss, let's flip it. Let's talk about someone who had more of a workout performance, maybe a bit surprising. Carlos Ortiz.
Yeah, definitely a breakout week for Carlos. He's ranked 7th in the LIV Golf League standings. But this T4, it was a massive career high in a major. His previous best was like T52 way back in the 2019 U.S. Open.
And he was just putting on a ball striking clinic, wasn't he? The stats really seem to back that up.
Oh, absolutely. The numbers are incredible. Ranked 2nd in strokes gained approach per round, plus 1.93. 3rd in strokes gained tee to green, plus 3.13.
So what do those specific numbers tell us? Why was that the key to unlocking Oakmont?
Well, think about Oakmont. Thick, rough, tough greens. If you miss, you pay a heavy price. Ortiz gaining streaks like that, especially on approach and tee to green, it wasn't just precision. It was like survival.
Right, avoiding the big mistakes.
Exactly. It shows that maybe a really solid, classic ball striking game is the most reliable way to contend on a beast like Oakmont. Maybe more than just power or a hot putter.
Makes sense.
And it wasn't a total fluke either. He had top 10s in 3 of his last 4 LIV starts coming in. He seemed pretty proud afterwards, even though he just missed out. Said something like, a really great week, played good enough, just made a few mistakes that cost me. Overall, pretty proud.
And historically significant, too, right?
Hugely. His T4 was the best ever finish by a Mexican-born player in any major championship.
Wow, that's fantastic. And like Hatton, he also got those exemptions for the 2026 U.S. Open and Masters.
Yep, same deal. Big boost for him, especially the Masters invite. He only played Augusta once before and missed the cut.
Okay, so moving on from, let's say, the breakouts and near misses, let's talk about some of the veterans, their journeys at Oakmont.
Right. And you have to start with Phil Mickelson, don't you? Possibly his farewell to the U.S. Open.
It's hard to even picture it without him. After all these years chasing that trophy, he kind of hinted it might be his last one, didn't he, before the tournament?
Yeah, he did. At a press conference at LIV Golf, Virginia, he said, let me get this right. I haven't thought about it too much. There's a high likelihood that it will be, but I haven't really thought about it too much. Classic Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he misses the cut at Oakmont in what might be his last shot. What does that add to his whole U.S. Open story, his legacy there?
Well, look, it wasn't the fairy tale ending, obviously, but it was one last glimpse of that chase for the career Grand Slam. His U.S. Open story is really defined by those 6 runner-up finishes, isn't it?
6. It's unbelievable.
In 99 to 2013. It just captures everything about Phil. The brilliance, the incredible shots, but also sometimes, the mistakes or the bad timing. That pursuit almost became part of his identity.
So for him now, at 55, what are the paths back if he wanted another shot?
It's tough. Really tough. He'd need an exemption, maybe through qualifying, which is a grind, or winning another major. He's still exempt for the other 3, maybe through his LIV Golf ranking, potentially. Or, very rarely, the USGA might offer a special invite.
So, a very challenging road.
Extremely. Shows how hard it is to keep competing at that level, even for the legends.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, speaking of veterans and form, Brooks Koepka. He had a really strong week, kind of a bounce back, right, after a bit of a rough patch.
Yeah, definitely a bounce back. He'd had 4 straight LIV finishes outside the top 15, missed the cut at the Masters and the PGA, so this was needed.
He opened with that 68, tied for 3rd, finished T12. That's his first major top 20 in, 8 tries?
That's right, 8 tries.
So what does that T12 after that slump really tell us? Is this Brooks getting back towards his peak or just, a good week?
I think it's a significant step. Look at the stats. He gained 2.34 strokes tee to green per round. That ranked him 10th in the field.
Okay, that's strong.
It shows that foundational game, the ball striking, the scrambling. It's coming back. Now, is he back to peak major dominating Brooks? Maybe not quite yet. You need to be contending late on Sunday for that.
Yeah.
But this T12, it suggests the confidence is returning. Maybe those physical issues are behind him. It's definitely promising for the future majors.
Good to see for him. Now, on the flip side of form, Bryson DeChambeau, defending champion, comes in playing great, 7 straight top 10s, a win in Korea, and then misses the cut. That was a surprise.
Yeah, that was definitely unexpected.
Yeah.
Especially given how well he'd been playing. But, defending a U.S. Open title, it's incredibly hard.
How hard?
Think about it. Before Brooks did it back-to-back in 2017-18, the last guy was Curtis Strange in 88-89.
Yeah.
And before that, Ben Hogan, 1950-51. It almost never happens.
Wow. That's rare company.
It really is. And Oakmont. Well, Oakmont is Oakmont. That thick rough, those lightning greens, they can humble anyone. For Bryson, whose game is often about aggressive lines and, precise calculations, Oakmont probably just punished his approach more than other courses might.
So, likely just a blip for him.
Almost certainly. Just a minor setback. He'll bounce back, no doubt about it.
Okay, that makes sense. Oakmont doesn't really let you get away with much, does it? All right, let's move to some of the younger guys and some moments that were just unforgettable. Jon Rahm, we're calling it his putter betrayal.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because his tee to green game was lights out, wasn't it? Like Thursday, best driving day of his career, apparently. And his putting was amazing that day, too. Gained almost 3.5 strokes, ranked first.
Incredible start. Dialed in completely.
But then the putter just went cold. Completely abandoned him for the rest of the week. How much does that kind of swing from #1 putting to way down the list impact a player at a major?
Oh, it's huge. And the contrast for Rahm was just stark. You look at his overall stats. 5th in strokes gained approach, 14th off the tee. That's a recipe for winning, usually.
Right.
But the putter, it dropped to 69th overall for the week.
Yeah.
And Friday was brutal. He ranked 142nd out of 156 players in strokes gained putting.
Ouch. 142nd.
Yeah. It just shows putting can be the great equalizer, right? Even for an elite ball striker like Rahm. All those brilliant drives and approaches, they don't mean much if you can't convert on the greens.
Still, he finished strong, didn't he? That final round, 67.
He did. A stellar 3 under 67. It actually vaulted him into the solo clubhouse lead for, over 4 hours. Showed a lot of fight.
And good sportsmanship, too, waiting for Hatton.
Yeah, really classy move, greeting his Legion 13 teammate like that. So look, the top 10 finish shows the game is there, obviously, but that putter, it absolutely has to cooperate if he wants to win more majors. Simple as that.
From one young star with major hopes still kind of pending to another, Joaquin Niemann. High hopes coming in, right? Just won the week before at LIV Golf, Virginia. People thought maybe this was his time to contend in a major.
Yeah, the timing seemed perfect for him.
But it didn't happen, missed the cut, 10 over for 2 rounds, 3 shots off the line. How do you see this? Is it a step back after his T8 at the PGA?
It's definitely a humbling reminder, isn't it? That even when you're playing great, majors are just different. The courses, the pressure. Neiman actually talked about it himself.
Oh, yeah. What'd he say?
He was pretty honest. Said something like, yeah, I do think I need a major. The majors are a big stage. I haven't felt like I've really been contending in majors yet. Yeah, that might help to think I'm one of the best players. I feel like that's something that's eventually going to happen.
Good self-awareness.
Totally. And he's only 26.
Yeah.
He absolutely has the game. Plenty of time. But yeah, Oakmont showed that just being in form on your regular tour doesn't automatically translate to cracking the major code.
He knows what he needs to do, seems like. Okay, now for maybe the most unforgettable single moment of the week, Patrick Reed. That rare feat. Tell us about that.
Oh, this was incredible. Pure history. Patrick Reed makes an albatross, a double eagle, on the par 5 fourth hole in the first round.
An albatross? How far out?
It was from 286 yards, hit a 3-wood, landed short, hopped a couple of times, and just rolled right into the cup. Unbelievable.
How rare is that in a U.S. Open?
Get this. It was only the 4th albatross in the entire 125-year history of the U.S. Open.
Wow. Just the 4th ever.
Ever. And it gives Reed this really unique distinction, too. He's now the only player ever with both an albatross at Oakmont and a hole-in-one at Winged Foot, which he got back in 2020.
That's an amazing stat. Only him.
Only him. And he backed it up with a solid week, too. Finished T23 with an even par 70 on Sunday. Kind of redeemed himself for missing the cut at Oakmont back in 2016, which, by the way, was his only missed cut ever in a U.S. Open.
It's just a wild moment. Okay, let's try and tie some of this together with the numbers, because the stats often tell a deeper story, don't they? Beyond just the final score.
Absolutely. They can really paint a picture.
Looking across all these performances, was there maybe one particular metric, one stat that really jumped out to you as being the most critical for success or maybe struggle at Oakmont that week?
Yeah, definitely. The numbers really highlight the different ways guys were getting it done or, what held them back. Take Tyrrell Hatton again. His consistency was key. 4th in strokes gained approach, plus 1.71 per round. 6th in greens in regulation, 74%. That's just solid, precise golf.
Catch him right in it. And Carlos Ortiz, the breakout star.
His numbers are even better in some ways. 2nd in strokes gained approach, plus 1.93. And get this. 1st in greens in regulation at 79%.
79%.
At Oakmont.
79%. That tells you his ability to just hit greens consistently from anywhere was basically unmatched that week. That is pure gold on that course.
Okay. Jon Rahm then. Stellar tee to green, betrayed by the putter.
Exactly. 11th in strokes gained off the tee, 8th in approach, 2nd in greens in regulation at 75%. Top-tier ball striking across the board, which just makes that putting rank 69th overall stand out even more. You see those numbers, you know exactly where the problem was.
Right. And Brooks Koepka, the resurgence. His stats show that solid foundation coming back. 9th in strokes gained off the tee, 8th in strokes gained around the green. So driving it well and cleaning up effectively around the greens, both crucial for surviving Oakmont.
Gotcha. Patrick Reed, beyond the albatross?
His driving accuracy was key. 5th in fairways hit, 68%. At Oakmont, hitting fairways is just paramount. Sets everything else up.
Okay, and Mark Leishman, he had a good week too.
Yeah, and for him, it was the putter. 9th in strokes gained putting, plus 1.20 per round. That really helped him navigate those super tough Oakmont greens and post a solid score.
So it's like a different recipe for each guy, almost. Really interesting how the stats show that. Okay, so let's wrap this deep dive up. The 2025 U.S. Open at Oakmont, it really was a true test, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Tested every part of the game.
Gave us that incredible mix of high-stakes drama, those personal stories triumph, near misses, and some just amazing statistical performances. And what seems pretty clear is that the LIV Golf players, they were right there, squarely in the mix, basically until the bitter end.
Yeah, they absolutely made their presence felt. It was a championship that wasn't just about skill, but, strategy, mental toughness, and, sometimes just the luck of the bounce.
So after digging into all these stories, the stats, the moments from Oakmont, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. What element of a major championship performance do you think ultimately defines a player's legacy at a course as demanding as Oakmont? Is it the meticulous skill, the unpredictable luck, that mental fortitude, or maybe the weight of history and context, something to chew on?